pulled the trigger real late in terms of shutting down and doing a tremendous amount of work. And Cindy and I were overwhelmed, to say the least, and we needed someone to help us with the public side of it. So we called Larry because we knew that he'd do a good job with that. And I never knew in my life that I would become the type of person that had a publicist, but now I got a publicist, Larry Osterling. So let's give him a round of applause, and also his wife for letting him basically concentrate on us for 2 weeks. So, and she was happy to have him out of her hair for 2 weeks. Probably the second and most instrumental person in all this is my landlord, Bill Kinley. I know a lot of you know him because he's very instrumental in a lot of things that happened in Saline, but if it wasn't for his backing, there's no way that this would have happened. We pulled it off not only under his guidance from the construction side, but also his help spiritually, mentally, and a lot of other ways. And him and Mary are great people, and we're honored to have been in business with them for a lot of years, because when you have a restaurant in your building, you really become a partner in a lot of senses, and a partner you didn't want to have. And he's probably learned a lot about restaurants, and we've learned a lot about building, but honest to God, straight up, straight people, and like Cindy and I love what they love them. I mean, they've done a great job for us, so a round of applause for them. So the other thing, you know, there's several people on this list, and honestly, because this restaurant since day one has always been a family affair, and we've been really fortunate over the life of our experience in Saline. We've met a lot of good people, and I've never been in a community that is so connected like this community is. And I tell people wherever I go, the single most exciting day to be a resident of any place is the Saline Parade Day, because the amount of volunteers, the amount of people that come to our community for such a great thing is absolutely awesome. You look at all the things that this city has accomplished with volunteers, and whether you like all of them or not, and I don't want to get on this political side, but you take things like Picnic in the Park, which has become Saline Summerfest. You take, you know, the Celtic Festival, which was started by a group of volunteers and became this, you know, huge event for this community. And I've never been in an area that people came together and volunteered their time and their resources and money and stuff to make their community better. And now we've got the Main Street, you know, initiative going on with that group, Cindy, Jill, and that group, and it's phenomenal what these people put into their community. And I think we can all learn a lot from that in terms of, you know, it takes a lot of people to make a great place, and we're fortunate that we have a lot of great people in this community. And Cindy and I have been really fortunate. These people have been really supportive of us for the 17 years we've been open. And we've really grown up. You know, our kids have grown up. You see them all here. They're all young adults now. Todd, Jamie, Katie. Where's Eric? He's sitting at the bar. Mary's right here. You know, I mean, you know, they've become adults, and they've become adults in the community, and they're all still here. And just, you know, overwhelming in a lot of different ways. I gotta put my glasses on for a minute. So, another thing, you've sampled some of the new fare from our menu. We tried to not reinvent the world, we reinvent the wheel at Max when we redid the food, but I was also fortunate enough that when I worked for Main Street Ventures, which is basically the only adult job that I've ever had before I opened my own business, the executive chef there was a guy named Simon Pasucic, and if you've ever met him, you probably never understood a word that came out of his mouth. But he's probably the most hard-working, talented individual that I've ever been surrounded with in my life. Unfortunately for them, fortunately for me, he retired from Main Street Ventures in late December, and I went to his retirement party. And another founder of Main Street Ventures, Dennis Saris, came and looked at the place before we opened to give us some ideas with Bill, because Bill and Dennis are friends, and Dennis is kind of my mentor. Dennis mentioned, you should call Chef and ask him to come out and take a look at your menu and give you some ideas. What Dennis was really saying is, Wally, you need a kick in the ass, you should have Simon come and do it for you. So I called him and asked him, and he did come out, and He came out the last Friday we were open, and he played in the kitchen. He came out last Friday, the day we were open, he played in the kitchen. He's coming back on Thursday. We're going to take a look at desserts and stuff. And that has been a humbling experience for me too, because I finally realized that Cindy and I play in their sandbox, like we're on the same par to come back and do that. And it was just a really neat experience for me, but you know, so some of the things you'll see on the menu are because of his inspiration. Not all his ideas, but his inspiration. But you know, again, just a wonderful event that happened to me that, you know, helped with this opening. The staff, we've employed numerous people in this community, probably some of your children. We've had marriages, we've had divorces amongst our staff. We actually even have a child of someone that worked for us when we were first opened working here, so we're into our second generation. Last December we had the first person retire from here, and those are all neat kind of things that happen in the realm of the business too. So again, if it wasn't for our staff, and not only the ones that are working tonight, but every single person that's worked here since day one has been pretty instrumental in terms of what we've done here. Saline Area Chamber of Commerce, I want to thank all of the members that have come tonight, our trap especially, because again, we didn't have any time to do anything in terms of pulling it together. We were so concerned about trying to just open a restaurant that some of that stuff fell by the wayside. Couldn't have done it without art, so another round of applause for the Chamber and art. And then, you know, Banking Ann Arbor, I know Walt left because he had a meeting. Looked like he had a tennis game by the looks of it and stuff, but Nancy's still here. You know, again, Walt and the bank, but especially Walt. Walt's always been really supportive of this restaurant since day one. And we followed him good and bad through his banking career, just like he's kind of followed us. And he's always done right by us. He's always tried really hard to help our needs and all that kind of stuff. But not just from a banking standpoint. I'm talking about from a community standpoint, a friendship standpoint. And he really does a lot to beat our drum. And you know, we've got a good relationship with them now with what they're doing with their stone arts and stuff like that. And you know, again, the people in the community that you meet, that you're really lucky that you get to meet and do business with and stuff too. So a big shout out to them too. I also don't see him. I thought he was coming tonight, but I also want to thank my ex-partner Bob Rash and his wife Jeannie and his two girls. If it wasn't for Bob, there wouldn't have been Wally up until this point. He came at a good time. He bought in. He was here for 5 years. I bought him out in early December, but he's part of the whole process and stuff too. So you know, I mean, again, I want to recognize the fact that he knows and everybody knows that if you know, if it wasn't for him, there wouldn't be us right here right now. So. And that's about it. There's more food out here. I hope I didn't forget anybody. Oh, Larry told me I had to make me do it. None of this would have happened if it wasn't for Cindy. Two more things. One is, one of the neatest things that happened here is we had the good fortune of working with not only Bill, but Bill hired John Monroe. And his construction company was phenomenal. And John allowed us to bring people in to help in certain areas. So a friend of mine, Dave Wally, that wasn't here tonight, he had to come in with his daughters. He actually did a lot of behind the scenes. He took care of coordinating the granite. He put up the TVs and stuff. John Moss, who's another friend of mine, did a lot of grunt work, helped with that. Paul Border came in and helped out. One thing that was really neat, my oldest, Eric, actually is a carpenter, construction person, has his degree from Ferris State, and actually came in last Saturday, and him and John were the only ones here, and they pretty much constructed that wall in the bar together. And it was really nice that people that I know and that I love got to put their heart and soul into this too. And I got a new friend now that I met, John, and he's been in here a couple times with his family already. And again, a good person that allowed us to do that, because some people wouldn't let you do things like that when they're on a job with that. So he did all the work, so give him a steady hand too. And then probably the single best thing in this whole bar that Cindy loves is the back bar. and it's awesome. And we want to, you know, the funny thing is when we decided on this, he wanted it, what he said was, well, when I get done with it, it'll look like it always was there. And that's probably the greatest thing that you can say for something that gets built. And that's my friend Ken Marsh, who's sitting in the bar somewhere. There he is right here. And Marshy, no, he doesn't want to build any bars in anybody's basement, but every time you have a drink at that bar, remember Marshy. Because every time I have a drink at the bar, I will. His wife Sue's here too, and again, you know, she let us have him for 2 weekends in a row where he didn't spend time with his family. He was up here doing that, so anyway. So again, thanks to City Saline, thanks Brian for coming. If I forgot to thank anybody, I do apologize. I mean, and stuff too, but enjoy. There's still more food, there's still more wine, and we hope to see you in here soon. So.